Hi everyone, it's Miss Rossi. Today we're going to finish our symmetrical insect drawings. What you'll be needing today is your symmetrical drawing from last week. So this should be whatever insect that you chose that we drew on one side and then copied onto the other to make a symmetrical image. And then we're also going to need something to color with today. I'm going to use crayons to add color, but you can use whatever you would like to add color to your picture. Now I'm going to show us how we can blend and mix our colors together as we're coloring in our bugs to create some value. So you can use anything that's really going to blend well together, like crayons, colored pencils, pastels, or anything else you have at home that you'd like to use to color in your picture. So like I said, as we are coloring in our picture today, we're going to be trying to add value. So we want to add some darks and some lights. We're going to mix some colors together to create a range of our dark and light shades as we are creating our picture, so it has more shape, more dimension. It looks like it is taking up more space and is almost three-dimensional. Now I have a cricket drawing here. I think I want mine to be green, like it's a grasshopper. So I'm going to start by pulling out some different green colored crayons. I'm going to pick some dark greens and some light greens that I can use. I just want a nice mix, so I'll be able to get a nice scale of all of my colors. I am going to grab some yellows as well. So I have a darker yellow. I know there's a lighter yellow down there somewhere. There it is. So today we want to create value. So we want to show the range of colors that we have. I'm going to grab my sketch paper from last week just so I can practice shading on here so I can see my value scale. So a value scale is all of the colors that you're going to be using from our darkest to our lightest. So I am going to start with my lightest color, flip this page over, and all the way down here at the bottom, I'm going to have my lightest color, which is going to be this bright yellow. Then to get a little bit darker, I have this dandelion yellow. And as I am adding these colors to my paper, I'm letting them overlap a little bit so I can see how they're going to look when they mix together. So this is going to help me show them transitioning into one another and how they're going to blend. So now I'm going in from my lightest greens all the way to my darkest greens, just so I can get an idea of what these colors are going to look like together, where I want to add some shadows, some highlights, and then what colors I can use to create those shadows and highlights. And I can even grab a little bit of black if I want to get crazy. Since my outline is in black, that darkest area could even be done with my black. So I can overlap some of that darker green that I had with my black and blend those together. So now that I have a nice idea of what kind of color range I'm going to be working with, it's going to be easier when I am looking at my actual bug and deciding what areas do I want to be highlighted, where is the light hitting it, maybe where it is more round and sticking up towards the sun. Those areas would be lighter than areas that are shadowed or closer to the edges and the bottom. So I can focus on using those yellows and those light greens in areas where I want to highlight, and those darker greens and a little bit of that black in those areas where I want a shadow or something a little bit darker. So with whatever colors you are using, you want to try and think about how you can create these darker and lighter versions of it as you are coloring in your picture. I'm going to start with my leg down here. It is a nice larger piece. And I'm going to decide where I want the highlight. I think I want my highlight close to the top and more in the middle. I'm imagining the leg of my grasshopper being a little bit more rounded, so the light would be hitting it closer to the top and kind of in that middle section. So I started with that bright yellow in the center. Now I'm going to go in with my darker yellow around the edges, and as I'm coloring with my darker yellow, I am overlapping that light yellow just a little bit to help blend those colors together. I think it is always best to start with our lighter colors and work into our darker colors, because it's always easiest to make something darker. It is very hard to make something lighter. You can always add more color, but you really can't take it away, especially when you're not using something that is erasable. Like crayons, we can't really erase and get rid of if we make a mistake. So it's always best to start light and work your way darker. So now I'm starting to mix in some of those greens, again overlapping with my yellows that I used a little bit, and then staying darkest closest to that outer edge that I have where that black outline is. And as I'm blending, I am just pressing lighter as I'm getting closer to that yellow section, so my color is not coming out as dark. Here we go. I'm going to take some of that darkest green and just follow along that outline section where that black is to just blend those together a little bit. And I think I'm even going to take my yellow and add a little bit more of my darker yellow in the center, and that's going to help blend those greens together and make it pop just a little bit more. And you can keep layering your colors on top of each other until you get the result that you are looking for. So I am making it darker closest to the body up here, and I'm going to make it darkest closest to this bottom section of our leg, lightest in that middle area. There we go. I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I'm going to do the same thing in this section of my leg so my image stays symmetrical. Again, we're making a symmetrical drawing, so it is the same on both sides. Now, it's not going to be perfectly the same when we're coloring like this, but we can try our best using the same colors in the same order and trying to place them in similar spots to get a similar result. Now I'm going to repeat that same process in all of those extra little portions of my legs. So I'm going to focus on a little bit of yellow in the center and darker greens around the outside. Now some of these areas are really, really small, so I might not have any yellow in there. Like in these top areas, I might just use that really light green and then just put a little bit of my darker green around the edge, because you might not get that full range of all of your colors in all of your spaces. We still want to create a little bit of value if we can, if we have the space for it. This side I don't have too much space because my outline is a lot thicker with that black crayon, but try and see what you can fit. Even just doing those little bits of my lightest green in the center and my darker green around the edges really helps to create that same sense of shadow and roundness that we're seeing in the one where I was able to add that full range of my colors. So just try your best going in all of your different little sections and seeing how you can create different highlights and shadows to make your bug look more alive. So I'm going to go in, finish up these legs, and I'm going to do the same thing along the body on the inside here and on this top piece. Now I do have some decorative little sections in there, and in those areas I am going to maybe pick some other colors just as a little pop of something special in there so they look a little bit different. If you have something like a butterfly or a ladybug, maybe you want to focus on adding a special design in there too, as you are also shading and creating some different kinds of values and highlights and shadows. Now that I have my cricket's body all finished, I am just going to go in and do those little wings that I have left. I'm going to grab a silver, and I'm also going to grab some other colors, like I have some purples and light pinks and even some light blues. And I am just going to add some different colored lines in here to show like almost like the reflections off of the wings. Normally when bugs have wings, they're like almost like iridescent, where they're reflecting all of the other different colors that we see instead of them just being like one color. So I'm just going to add kind of all different colors to this section to make it a little bit more exciting and to make my bug's wings stand out a little bit. So I have a darker color that I'm using in areas where I would imagine a shadow. I'm going to leave it white in certain spaces, so there is a nice highlight there too. And then I also have a silver crayon here that I'm going to use to add a little bit of shine in here too. That looks pretty cool. I'm happy with that. I'm going to put all my crayons away, and now I am finished coloring in my bug. I'm going to leave my background white for this so there is more contrast and my nice bright colorful bug stands out a little bit better on my paper. If you want to color in the background of your picture to show where your bug is or add any other drawings or details in your background, you can always go ahead and do that, but I'm going to leave mine the way that it is for now. Once you're finished with your project, you can take a photo or video of it and upload it on my Canvas page. I can't wait to see the crazy, colorful, symmetrical bugs you guys have created. Try your best to have fun and get creative, and I'll see you soon. Bye!